Hello and welcome to the Jay and Dre Show. This is your host Dre.
And I'm your boy Jay.
And this week, got a few more new topics for everybody. One of the big ones that's been in the news and in the culture is, especially since the shooting last month in Florida, has been guns. Gun control, gun safety, and simply, how can we curb all these mass shootings, all these school shootings? So, both of, I think, well, I know you definitely own a gun. I also own a gun. Both of us are gun. I would venture to say you're a responsible gun owner. So I'd like to just get your take on this, man.
I don't know, man. I'm sound kind of hawkish on this, man. I think I'm with Republicans as far as from the stance of that schools are soft targets. So when you see things like this is a no gun zone, gun free zone, I think that's ludicrous. You're making it a soft target. That's why people usually target schools and movie theaters, places that they're least likely to counter opposition. With that said, I think arming teachers with weapons is ludicrous. When you go to a club, right, it's shootings at clubs. You don't go to the page and say, you know what, we had a shooting at a club last week. How about y'all come in here and y'all have some guns, let's stop these shootings going on. No, you hire more security for that venue. So in my opinion, that's the answer. The answer is not arming teachers that's doing a job that not many people can do, that are usually underpaid, overwhelmed, and stressed. And you're putting a weapon in the environment with kids. You know, I just think that's a bad idea. I think the key is they need to come up with a quota for armed personnel for every amount of students. Armed trained personnel, whether it's class 2 security or whether it's law enforcement or SROs, it needs to be more personnel per children. And I think that making it a harder target to target is actually the answer. But arming teachers, no.
This one's gonna be really interesting because I'm actually all the way on the other side of this one. Honestly, I would agree in the sense that schools are soft targets, but so many other aspects of our society is soft targets. The grocery stores are soft target. The churches are soft target. The gas stations are soft target. Nearly everywhere that you go in society is a soft target, but the majority of these places aren't getting shot up like our schools and certain things are. And I really do feel that two things really need to happen. One, there needs to be proper enforcement of the laws that's already on the books, because there's been a few shootings now where the person that's committed it, quote unquote, shouldn't have been able to legally get the gun that they legally bought. And two, I just think it's absurd that we have assault weapons for sale on the open market. Like, I agree with, I'm not opposed to security at schools at all. But the thing about it is, you can give me one officer armed with a 9mm, you can give me 10 officers with a 9mm. Give me an AR-15. It's going to be the same thing. Like, not only that, but the whole arming teachers thing, I feel it just puts more bullets in the air, and you got more people that get caught in between, and more bodies. And not only that, but think about it. Cops get a call, they send in special weapons and tactics. All they know is that there's a shooter on the loose. Let's say, quote unquote, guy gets the bad guy with the gun. Special weapons and tactics finds a guy with a gun, pops a dude. It's a very real scenario that could happen. And I think that it's kind of short-sighted to think that the solution to gun violence is simply introducing more guns to people who don't have guns.
Yeah, I'm with you. I disagree. I understand what you're saying about the venues. I wouldn't call it a gas station a soft target because, especially like we call them stop and robs. The owners usually are armed, and also some of the venues you name usually don't attract as many as people that can be found at a school. Most of the time when shooters target schools, they're mentally deranged, and they're seeking, for lack of better words, some kind of fame. So the key is to kill as many people as possible. That's why when the guy in the Royal, the Batman premiere, you knew it was going to be a packed theater. Schools always have, majority of schools, 1,000 or more students. They church, a bigger church, hardly no dealing roof, but that's another question for a different day. But everything else you said, man, I totally agree with you, man. I mean, to say the key to, we got a gun problem, and hey, let's give more people guns. It's ludicrous. You don't need an AR-15 to walk around. And let me ask you this, right? So I'm gonna play devil's advocate.
Okay.
So the NRA person or a person that agrees with them, a right wing person will say, but the Constitution says, or you gotta have
bear arms, right?
Bear arms, but I forgot the wording, but it's something militia. Like basically
that's part of a well-regulated militia.
Well-regulated militia. Now the key is what's considered well-regulated. Anyway, well-regulated militia. How would you come back at that?
Oh, I believe in the Second Amendment, and please believe anybody come for me and mine, I got 6 shots for them. But I disagree with the whole argument for it. Because think about it. I could go and in 5 minutes on Google show you how several of your constitutional rights are being infringed upon, but quote unquote, the reason why we have guns is to defend ourselves from the tyranny of the government and to protect our rights. Well, if that's the case, the government's been taking your rights for years now. Go get your rights. Exactly. It's just a gun lobby. All they want to do is sell more guns.
It really is, man. You got a great point. Because at this point in time, you're not. No, I'm sorry.
Think about it.
You're not going against the military.
That's all it is. It's just a front to sell more guns and get more out there for the gun manufacturers. That's why they want to arm school teachers. That's why cases like so many, even members of the NRA say, so many are like, yo, we shouldn't have ARs for sale. Or at least not so readily available.
Nah, man, you can literally. I went to a gun show.
Yeah, you can.
When I was at Newberry, I went to a gun show in Columbia. It's like it's like the Wild Wild West, man. I mean, it's just guns everywhere. It's like you got a license. Yeah, okay, here you go.
Yeah, no background check at the gun show.
It's kind of crazy, man. But
I mean,
I really do think. As a person who has kids, and you have a son too, it's just something hurtful about when there's children that are harmed. I'm not saying a grown-up's life is less valuable. When there's our kids, I think everybody on every side can agree that something has to be done. So I just believe you have to put more armed officers, more armed security at schools. You have to make schools one-way entrance, one-way out. For example, I went to a school in our area, and I literally, now to their defense, they had all the other gates locked. Right, once school started, they only had one gate open, but nobody was at the gate. So I drove on to the school, I drove on to the school in the parking lot, and I walked through the front door. And once again, they had it where you want to go through the front door, but nobody was at the front door. So it's like I understand what they're trying to do, but you tell them we so poorly staffed that you can't go halfway on security, man. You get what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, and
somebody has to be there.
And I would say this. Honestly, I don't disagree with that at all. Like, honestly, I'm for that. Like, that's something that's sensible. Like,
one way in, one way out.
When it comes to gun-free zones and stuff like that, like, law enforcement, to me, is the only ones that should be able to carry in those types of areas. And when you're talking about schools and whatnot like that, those types of targets, yeah, you should have ample security. My whole thing is, you just raised a great point. How is it that the state of Florida can find money for all these guns, but so many social programs and other things they can't find the money for? But conversely, you could just as easily have took that money to arm these school teachers and just hire some more people to
do the job.
Exactly.
That's the biggest fallacy of America, man. The biggest fallacy is we don't have. Man, they print the money. I understand people say the more money you print and affects the block. It's they print the money. For example, the dog died on American Airlines and put him in the bin.
Oh, yeah,
and this congressman instituted a bill like the next day. And I saw somebody on Instagram or Twitter was basically said, I found it funny that in less than 72 hours, a bill can get into Congress about how to treat pets on a flight. But when it comes to our kids, nothing can be done.
I mean,
it's sad, man. It's a sad state of affairs.
I mean, you have to think about it though. Like the reason that quote unquote nothing can be done is because they're bought for nothing to be done. There's private money all throughout our government, and the NRA donates to our politicians. There's several different companies, lobby groups, trade associations that basically buy our elected officials. So this is kind of goes back to some of the conversations that you and I have had. That's basically what I mean when I say we have a one-party system in America. You have two sides, they may sound a little bit different, but when it comes down to what they do the same things.
I see what you're saying. Well, I guess we can agree, though, that giving teachers guns is a no-go. Oh, it's just sad, man. It's just sad that the death, even we live in a time where the death of children can be politicized. And that's horrible. That's horrible. We have to do better, man.
And I saw this, and like, yo, like I almost cried the other day because, you know, we've been through school, we've been through our fair share of things, like, you know, and we had a couple bomb threats called in. We had that riot at one time, and it's like, you know, my son is about to start school, and I saw what they were selling, bulletproof blankets.
Yeah.
And the fact that you have to basically send your kid to school with the vest to be able to receive them back home, it's troubling. Something has gone far, far, far too wrong in America. When you have products like that that are being marketed, it's absurd. And it's absurd that nothing can be done. It's absurd that for all the backlash and the talking points, whatnot, that honestly, frankly, I feel like you have people on the other side of the issue who frankly don't care because the only solution ever offered is to pump more guns into things.
I'll tell you what's probably more absurd. I bet if you did a background check on those companies, the companies who are making the bulletproof blankets and the different things like that, the tactical book bags and stuff like that, I bet if you did enough research, they could be tied back into the companies that are making the guns in the first place.
I mean, of course, as long as there's a sword, there'll always be a shield.
Yeah.
And you know,
so something has to be done, man. I think we agree. Something just has to be done.
Of course.
Tell me pretty lies, look me in the face. Tell me that you love me.